Hello guys, it is Briggsyboy here, welcome back to my channel, and today I have another football matchday vlog for you guys to sit back and enjoy. Today, this will be the first vlog I've done for Rovers this season. We face Oldham Athletic at home at Ewood Park for Carabao Cup Round 1 action. Now I'm looking forward to this. It is the first game I would have seen of Rovers this season, so I've seen none of our new signings yet, so I'm hoping to see a couple play today. Oldham on the other hand, they're of course a League 2 side, a strong League 2 side granted. They didn't have the best of seasons last year, but you get that feeling that they are on the up. They've signed some good players. It's by no means going to be an easy match. I think they're going to give us a bit of a contest. But yeah, apart from that, let's crack on with the video, okay? And let's head off to Ewood Park for the first time in months. Come on Rovers, let's get a win. Right, so there we go, that marks full time on the Blackburn Rovers versus Oldham Athletic game, and it's a narrow 3-2 victory for Rovers. I think I'd actually go as far to say that the first half of that match is the worst I've seen Rovers play in my time supporting the club. It really was that poor. I mean, on another day, perhaps Oldham could have nicked that one. I think we were lucky, you know, 2 injury time goals from both Stuart Downing and Joe Rothwell. The substitutes definitely made the difference because, like I say, first half you looked at it and you thought the second half could only be better. It was one of those matches where it was really that poor. Fair play to Oldham though, they turned out in the numbers, good away following, they were loud, they were noisy, and they created chances. I think they only had something like 3 shots on target, 2 of them were goals, they were clinical. And their 2 goals came from Rovers' errors, you know, not closing down the men, not going into tackles, you know, wimping out on some occasions, which was really not good to see, quite displeasing really. So moving on to the play ratings then for Blackburn Rovers. First up we of course have Luke Weiler in goal for us. Now I've gone for 5.5 out of 10. I thought, to be fair, he didn't look that composed, he did panic on occasions. What I did notice as well, he was punching the ball out a lot when he could have gone simple and tried to collect it, try and catch it. But he didn't really have that many important saves to make in the match. You know, like I say, they had 3 shots on target, 2 of which went in, 1 that just went wide. So he wasn't really that busy during the match. Moving on to Ryan Niambi, who started the game in right back. He then shifted to centre back with the 3 in defence when Harry Chapman came on. But I've gone 6 out of 10 for Niambi, okay? So his first touch was great throughout the match. I can't knock that. And he did make some good sprints going forward, you know. He looked for those attacking runs to support the wingers. He made some important tackles in the match, I'd say. You know, there was one moment where Oldham were on the breakaway. If he wasn't there with his pace to then get in, tackle the ball and just get it clear, Oldham could have been in and got a goal from it. So, you know, he did do his job. He made some important tackles. But for me, he got dragged out of position far too often and it left us exposed. It left some gaps in there which Oldham could then exploit. Matty Platt, who of course played centre-back, got subbed off in the second half. A very young centre-back pairing for us with Platt and Grayson. But for Platt, I think he didn't do as well as Grayson. I've gone 5 out of 10, okay? So he didn't impress me. I thought he lacked physicality. So for quite a big guy, even if he is only 19, 20... you're the centre-back, you can't be getting pushed off the ball and stuff like that. You've got to be winning everything in the air. So, like I say, he lacked physicality. You could tell his lack of experience showed on the pitch. Moving on to Grayson. Joe Grayson, he looked mobile. He has got a bit of pace about him, which is good. You need that in the modern game. He won basically everything in the air, which is what you need. And in all fairness, he did play some good through balls to the attackers, so I did notice on a few occasions. So, not a bad performance from Grayson. You know, I'd like to see more of him this season. I think he is a promising defender. I've gone 6 out of 10 then. Moving on to Greg Cunningham, our new left back. Of course, signed from Cardiff, used to play for Preston. Pretty good reputation, and he's going to get one with Rovers fans as well because he had a good game, okay? It did take a bit of time for him to settle in during the match, but I'd say once we hit the 20-minute mark, he was firing on all cylinders, powerful in the air, very strong tackler, you know, no one was really getting past him. He did put some really good crosses in as well. Not a bad debut at all from Cunningham. I've gone 7 out of 10, possibly even a 7.5. Corey Evans, centre mid, fairly average performance. We stuck Evans, Smallwood and Buckley to start off with there. And yeah, I'd say Evans was the best out of the three, but by no means did he have a good game. He didn't offer anything going forward, let's be honest. And at times, he was a bit lazy. He wasn't closing down opposition players. Gave away too many free kicks as well. So 5 out of 10 for Corey Evans. Richie Smallwood, he gets the worst rating for me. Now, I'm not hunting for him by any means, but he gets a 4 out of 10. He just back passes too much, but it was pointless back passes where the ball was on many times to go forward, try and create some chances, and he was just killing the whole flow of the game. Again, didn't really close down opposition players quick enough, which did lead to an Oldham goal, and he did make some daft challenges. Is that the last we could see of Richie Smallwood? I'm not sure. Could he transfer out somewhere? Possibly. But Buckley, another youngster for us, primarily plays centre mid, but he did move into right back in the second half when we mixed up the formation a bit. He looked a bit out of depth, didn't he? You could tell. Lacked physicality. He did look a bit like men versus boys when Oldham were running at him in the midfield. I would say slightly improved in right back, but he still looks out of position. Oldham had some overlaps on him where he just couldn't get to the ball. He got outpaced. He put the odd good ball going forward, but like I say, lacked physicality. He wasn't going into tackles, and it made it too easy for Oldham down the centre to then create chances. So 4.5 out of 10 for Buckley. So Stuart Downing and I have gone with a strong 7 out of 10 rating. Okay, probably could go up to a 7.5 because, you know, he got his first Rovers goal, so he got that goal in stoppage time. He did look the best player on the pitch in the first half for sure, but that continued all game. He was very consistent. His passing was pinpoint. He always looked to go forward with his moves, with his passing going forward. I'd say overall, it was a strong game for him, you know. It was a great finish to get his goal from about 25 yards out right in the corner. You don't save those. A very good performance from Downing. Like I say, at least a 7 out of 10, possibly a 7.5. Definitely one of the best players on the pitch in the Oldham match. So moving on now to Danny Graham. Now, I didn't think he proved to be as effective in this match. Whether that be the formation that we went with, the combination of Broughton and Graham, I'm not quite sure. Obviously, we did sort of play with the 3 centre mids first half, so I don't know if that had something to play with it. But the ball wasn't really going to his feet. The ball's got played over the top quite a few times or in the air, but he's not going to win absolutely everything at the end of the day. You know, I'd say he had an average game. Not really much to comment on Graham. He didn't do anything wrong. He didn't really do anything good either. So average 6 out of 10 performance from him. Ben Broughton, I've gone with 5.5 out of 10. So let's be honest, he did make some noticeable mistakes, especially in the first half. So he had his one-on-one opportunity, a great through ball. It looked like he was in to score. And it came to nothing because he had a heavy touch. The keeper then collected it, I think. And he also, there was a good cross put in the box. I think it was from Greg Cunningham, if my memory serves me. And he just got, he had an absolute fumble. He got his feet muddled up, couldn't hit the ball. It was a fairly easy opportunity to score. His passing play was good, but in all fairness to Brereton, the ball wasn't delivered to his feet that good. Because I think when he was dribbling, you know, when he was looking forward, he did shine a little bit for me. So, you know, he made them good passes forward. He ran into that space, but it just came to nothing. With Harry Chapman, I've gone with 5.5 out of 10. Pretty poor from Chappie, really. I mean, don't get me wrong, he looked really fast out there, but he only took on one player. Zach Mills, think it was, on his side, and it didn't really come to anything from it. You know, no clear-cut opportunity. He generally did look a little bit scared on the ball, scared to take players on, which isn't what you want. But for me, it was an average performance from him. He made a couple of dodgy passes as well, where he wasn't going for the clear option. You know, he was going all the way back to the defence when we were sort of attacking in the final third. So, pretty poor game there from Chappie for me. Hopefully he'll do a better one next time he plays. Joe Rothwell, I've gone with 7 out of 10. So again, he's in that sort of bracket of the better of the players that played in the match with your likes of Stuart Downing and Greg Cunningham. So I think he impacted the game very well. The subs that Mowbray made, you can't complain about. He did the right subs. He definitely went more of an attacking lineup in the second half with the players he brought on. The switch in the formation, playing sort of the 3 in the back with the wing backs. I think that was decent. So I think he really was a difference maker. He always looks a threat on the ball. He drives forward. Joe Rothwell is like a player I haven't seen in many years at Blackburn Rovers. He's that player that we have always needed. And then finally we have Bradley Dack. I've gone with Dack as the man of the match for me. 1 goal and 2 assists, made such an impact when coming on, linked up really well with Joe Rothwell, and we sort of saw a glimpse there of what Dack can be like when he is firing on all cylinders. I mean, he only came on, 65 minutes, he scored in the 70th, got 2 assists in that time as well, obviously with the 2 goals in added time, so definitely a good performance from Dacky. And that just proves how dangerous he can be when he is on his toes, when he is ready, and like I say, when he is firing on all cylinders. So a good match from him. Right, so now it is that time where we get the thoughts of Tony Mowbray with his post-match press interview. So let's hear the thoughts of the gaffer after that close call 3-2 victory over Oldham last night.
Tony Mowbray, did you make hard work of that?
Well, listen, it wasn't very enjoyable to watch, was it? It was a frustrating night for us all. We'd worked on a game plan of dominating the ball, pushing them back, just waiting to create chances, and yet we didn't really get in behind them enough. We didn't get down the sides of them in behind and cut it back, and played in front of them too much for staff, too pedantic, too slow. They scored on transition, and they looked as if they were really organised and worked really hard to try and deny us, and it wasn't really until we made some changes that we got back into it. We decided again to go a bit more direct, and that paid off. And we could have scored some more. The offside goal, Dacky missing incredibly a one-on-one, just him and the goalie, which I don't think I've seen before. But we found a way to win. But let's be honest, it wasn't very good. It was. But sometimes, as I've looked at the results, as I've come into the dressing room and seen, I think 7 or 8 championship teams getting beat, it was probably one of them nights, teams making probably too many changes, thinking they might get away with it against lower leagues, and haven't. And I'm saying that without looking at the teams. I've just seen some of the results and some of the teams going out, and that could have been us just adding to that statistic. And yet you have to give them credit that they found a way to win the game at the end, a game that looked as if it was going to go to penalties, and then looked like we were going out, and then looked like it was going to penalties, and then we found a way to win at the death. So let's put it behind us very quickly. I'll learn the lessons. I'm just saying, I've got a couple of hours drive to get home now. I'll contemplate for a few hours on what was good, what was bad. I think there's more concerns than positives, I think, but it's a cup game. It felt like a low atmosphere game, and you hope that the young players would come and express themselves and show their talent. In the end, it was a few old stages really who, if I'm okay calling, Downing and Graham, who really influenced the game. Dack obviously really influenced the game. It made the difference in the end.
So that is the thoughts of Tony Mowbray following on from that narrow 3-2 victory against Oldham. Now, I totally agree with him in the fact that certain things need to be addressed. There wasn't positive signs to take from that. There's more negatives than positives. It shouldn't be that much of a struggle to beat a League 2 side at home. And at the end of the day, we were lucky. On another day, they could have quite easily won. Again, I do definitely believe that Dack and Rothwell made a big impact in that game. Stuart Downer and Greg Cunningham, 2 very solid signings we've made this summer by the looks of things. And Danny Graham, he did his job. He had a pretty decent game. So it moves on to Middlesbrough at home on Saturday, of course. Unfortunately, I won't be going to this game. But for me, it is all about getting our first win of the season, getting them points on the board. The longer you leave it, the more pressure is not only going to be on the players, but also the management. I think the good thing about the Cup, obviously Mowbray putting out pretty much a completely different team out there. I think it was actually 11 changes to what he originally did at the Fulham lineup. So the good thing about that, playing some young players, experimenting, he's got a better idea now who is going to be in that squad for Saturday. I wouldn't expect to see any of the youngsters in the starting 18. But hopefully you have enjoyed this vlog of Rovers versus Oldham Athletic. Like I say, no vlog Saturday as I won't be there. On the Tuesday, the 20th, I will then be at Macclesfield away watching Morecambe. And then the following Saturday, I'll be back at Ewood for our game against Cardiff City. So make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because there's going to be plenty of content for you to enjoy. And before I forget, shout out to Craig Stanley, my good mate Stanners. Hopefully you're watching this vlog. His debut watching me on the Briggsyboy channel. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. I'm sure you can tell me what you think of it tomorrow at work. But top man, Alright, I'll see you all later for the next video, which will be next Tuesday at Morecambe versus Macclesfield.